Welcome back to the vlog and welcome back here to Malamunda, Papua New Guinea. My name is Ryan. We're doing a quick 20-minute flight from Malamunda up to Compium, so let's get started. Over 14% will introduce my fuel. Watching the needle on the ITT just coming up. Seeing if it's going to go into the yellow at all, and it's not even close. Generator on prop forward, V2 I left on because I just shut down 5 minutes ago. Alternator on and auxiliary bus. Yeah, we are here in Malamunda. We're just jumping over these mountains. I haven't been to Compium in like almost a year, and I don't go there in the afternoon, so I don't even know what the weather typically is there. So if I can't land there, and then we'll be going on to Mount Hagen. I've got a group of high schoolers on board with me heading back to school today, so hopefully we can, because Mount Hagen's not that close to them where they actually want to go. Orsby 8819er, November Tango Echo Taxi.
November Tango Echo Morsi, go ahead.
November Tango Echo Taxi, Malamunda, Compium, 6 POB.
November Tango Echo, copy taxi, no reported traffic.
November Tango Echo. Alright, all these kids up here are just going to sit behind my plane and get blasted from the prop wash. Nose wheel straight before I put my parking brake on and get all my checklist items done. Caps and selectors are good. My controls are all free. Ready off for takeoff. I've got scheduled 9 or 1,000. I don't think 9,000 is going to do it though. I think it's going to be 11,000 to get up over top of these mountains this afternoon. It'll be at 60, more or less 6,200. So we'll rotate at 58 and 68 if we had to come back in. Right, switches and instruments are all good. My T's and P's are all good. Flaps are set, indicated, and verified at 20. Let's get my trim set up. So takeoff today is going to be, I have 2 knots of headwind. We should, because we had 2 knots of tailwind on landing. Should be 40 knots easily by the taxi or the parking bay on the left. Actually, we're going to have to move it up a little closer than that. I'm going to be airspeed alive by the very first cone. That way I have plenty of time to stop if I need to. So airspeed alive by the first cone, otherwise we'll stay on the runway, cut off, pull off, and shut off if we're going off. If we go off, we'll go off to the right. There aren't any houses at the end down there, I don't think. And after takeoff, we're going to pitch 85 knots, consider EPL, consider a feather. If EPL doesn't work, we will feather it. Keep my 85 knots all the way to the ground, 80 close to the ground with full flaps, cut off, pull off, and shut off. Emergencies, masters, and crack my door. Trim and abort is done. Ignition inlet and lights. Ignition condition, flaps 20, fuel and harnesses. We're 30 degrees, 2,000. 1430 for 1480. Rotate at 58. Torque is set. Airspeed's alive, continuing. A little bumpy today. There's 56. And airborne. Climb out at 73 knots initially. Bring my ITT up to 740. Get a quick turn out. And then we'll probably just circle here in the valley till we can get up out of the valley, and then hopefully be on our way, probably just down the Ramu, which I'll show you guys here in a minute. My thinking behind that. We got 13,000 foot mountains off here to my left, so I'm not going to be going up over those when I'm starting at 2,000 feet. For 85 knots, we'll nose over a bit, 10 degrees of flaps. Over 90 and climbing, we'll go 0 degrees, bring our prop back to 2,000 RPM. head to the edge of this mountain and then do basically a 180 and keep my climb up. Landing light off, engine inlet back to normal, and igniters are turned off. Pitch for 99 knots, that's going to be our best rate of climb to get up out of here. Moresby at A19 November Tango Echo departure.
November Tango Echo, go ahead.
November Tango Echo departed Malamunda, time 05, tracking 116, on climb 9,000, estimating compium 28.
November Tango Echo.
So yeah, I'm taking a group of 5 high schoolers up to the school. The school's actually in Wabag, which isn't too far from Compium, but that's the closest place other than Wapanamunda. But they're redoing the runway there. So, yeah, I was just asking them. It's a school that goes all the way up to 10th grade. Really glad to see that they're interested in school. Not everybody here in like bush locations like this are that interested in school, so I'm encouraged to see these guys wanting to get a high school education as well. What's really nice is we have this terrain right here, and you can zoom in on it. Red, you're dead. Yellow is just caution. But it kind of really quickly tells you if you're going to be over top. Sometimes looking at the clouds is kind of hard to tell, like if I'm over top because you're in a climb. So kind of your sight picture's a little bit off, or at least it's hard for me. Maybe not everybody, but this is super handy just to quickly look and go, oh, okay, I know that there's a mountain there. It drops down. Where it drops down, I'm clear of. And the mountain has a little bit of clouds on top of it, and it's still red. So I know I'm not going to get at least over top of the ones that are directly in front of me. If you guys are interested in getting some different shirts that I have on my website, I'm starting to, this was a viewer designer, like I didn't design this, one of the viewers designed this and then sent me the idea, and then I've just made a couple of them on my own as well, just copying his idea, but basically using the strip charts that where we land, like Malamunda, using a topographical look to it. Basically, let me quickly show you, let me throw it on autopilot. So here is the airstrip chart for Malamunda, and then I'll throw the t-shirt up on the screen so you guys can see the similarity of it. Anyways, I'm going to be making a bunch of these for different locations that we go to. So you guys, if you want to collect the different places that I get to go to, that would be really cool, I think. So anyways, now that we are up and going, so yeah, here is Wabag, and that's where their school is. I'm taking them to Compium, but if the weather's not good there, then I have to take them over here to Mount Hagen. So we're going to probably come in like this. As you can see, here's all high mountains up to 11,000. And these ones only go to 6,000, 7,000. So we'll just head down this way and then cut in the valley here. And then also, if you guys have been with me, Yambaitok is right about in this area. So yeah, give you guys an idea on where we are. While we're looking at it, let's just go ahead and look at the strip chart for Compium. Elevation is 5,000 nearly, so our pattern altitude is going to be 6,000. And the pattern is a little bit, it's different. It's really wide, but then it's really kind of, you don't really have a base you can see on here. So anyways, it is just a 2% slope. It's fairly long, 800 meters, 810 meters long. And I remember it's a, yeah, stony gravel. It's really rough feeling. A few of you guys have asked about radio frequencies and whatnot here. We have VHF and then also HF. So my HF is right here. And then we typically, it's usually all crackly. You can hear super annoying, and it has like alien talk on it. Anyways, let me show you our radio frequencies chart, because I am just now crossing into a new frequency of 128.5. So I'm just going to switch my VHF up here to 128.5, and then it also gives me 3 different HF frequencies, 3425, 6598, and 9806, which I don't even think we use 9806. I'm using 8819er. So anyways, that is, yeah, that's kind of split up into a few different sections in the Papua New Guinea. And this is our instrument chart with all of our own personal, like, minimum safes for IFR flying. You guys have asked a lot of times, why don't you ever fly through clouds? Well, 9 times out of 10 it's just harder, because if I wanted to fly through clouds here, I'd either have to make up my own route real quick on the fly, or I'd have to go over to a route to fly through clouds, or I could just stay inside of the ground and clear clouds and just maneuver my way around them, which is usually 9 times out of 10 a lot easier. So that's why I usually don't fly through clouds. And a lot of times the clouds here in the afternoon become pretty convective, and we don't have radar on 2 of our airplanes, so you're really kind of just going into a lot of these things blind, not sure how far they are. Like if you're going into like a rainstorm, you don't know how long it's going to get or how strong it's going to get. So typically I try to stay VFR as much as I can. It just makes my life a lot easier and less stressful, but sometimes you just can't. All right, we're just making our turn now, just following along these little mountain ridges right now. So Yumbai is just right over top of these hills down here. Really, really beautiful place. If you guys are flight simmers, you guys want to fly into there, that's now available for Microsoft Flight Sim. It's a free download. I can add on Airstrip, and a couple guys did it, 2 different ones. I have them on my Patreon page, as well as they're on some other forums and whatnot as well. But if you guys are interested in doing some of these same flights that I'm doing, even out of Mala Munda, I don't think it's built yet, but I'm going to ask someone if they can build it, because it's a really beautiful place. Check out my Patreon page, because I put a lot of really cool, fun flights for you guys to try out as well, and just experience PNG from your home or wherever you are in the world. Well, looking at all the clouds, it's looking super hopeful to get in here. They're still staying really, really low today. They're not really bunching up. It's still kind of just like a scattered and then just kind of broken over tops of all the mountain like ridges, but all the valleys are still all scattered. So that's super encouraging, because I really didn't want to have to head up to Mount Hagen and drop these guys off to a place that they weren't even really that interested in going to. But I'm heading back to Goroka, and I can't fly back to Mala Munda. Yeah, I wanted to do a really quick shout out to a guy named Anthony I met today up in Wewak, which is way up here. Anyways, he's from Ambunti, and he is doing an internship with Samaritan Aviation as a mechanic, and is planning on heading to the States to get his pilot's license and come back as a missionary pilot someday. So, good on you, Anthony. Great meeting you. I think it's awesome when I see people actively working towards their goals in life. It's something I'm super passionate about myself. It took me 15 years of to get to where I am right now, of actively working towards being able to become a missionary pilot. So it's not something that just happens overnight, or it wasn't just that I applied and got some job doing what I'm doing, which is probably what most people think. But anyways, yeah, good on you, Anthony, for working towards your goals. Well, I said it was a 23-minute flight, or correction, a 23-mile flight, but it's 23-minute flight, because I've still got 23 miles to go. Let's turn my altitude down to 6,000 for my field elevation. I want 5,600. Because I'm not familiar with this place, I'm going to go ahead and hit my timer reference, come on down here to minimums and turn on baro, and then turn it to 5,600, because that's where I'm supposed to turn, basically from downwind to final. And I'm not familiar with this place, so I'm just going to put it in here, and that way Betty will say minimums to remind me. Turn basically my base to final. We'll be landing on runway 23. I can have 7 knots of tailwind if I was full up. So right now I am 6,000. I'm basically 1,200 pounds under, so that's another 6 knots. Yeah, it's saying I could land essentially with 13 knots of tailwind, but that's a little bit more than I feel probably comfortable with, especially going into a place that I'm not really familiar with. So my committal is the river. If I do need to go around, it's just power up 20 degrees of flaps, right hand turn out, reset my IT to 740. And let's look at the map to see exactly where all these valleys go. So basically, if I go all the way almost to it, and then take a right down the valley, so come all the way here and then come in like that, and then I'll fly my pattern like that. Go ahead and start my descent on down to 6,000. I'll just scrape over top of the ridge right in front of me. All stations, copy, M128.5, November Tango, Echo, 13 miles to the west, passing 8,500. Circuit time, Compium 27. Landing on runway 23.
November Tango Echo. No reported traffic to descend at Compium. HS 6538, no contact 8819.
653-8819er. No joy, this frequency, November Tango Echo. Selectors and brakes are good. Our TAWS is turned off. Our VREF, let's just verify it's still the same. 6,000 pounds, so 67 knots. Our lights, autopilot off. Looks like it's just on the other side of these ridges right here. We've got 10 miles to run. Just going to slow down a bit, just because I can see some scattered clouds on the other side of these mountains. I am completely unfamiliar with these mountains, so I want to kind of come in at a 45-degree angle, make sure that I've got plenty of space to get in. It looks like it's 100% fine, but before I just commit myself to just zooming on through at 160 knots, let's make sure that I've got, if it's the right valley where I want to go. Put our engine inlet to bypass now. Our lights are already turned on. We've already talked about our go around. Push my prop forward, helps me slow down a little bit even more. Oh yeah, I've got plenty of room in there, so now let's just duck underneath of this cloud. Up in harness is done. Another 1,000 feet to go for pattern altitude. I basically will come in and then take a right around this next
500.
hill. And that is the valley that Compium is in. So if you're looking at, basically I'm looking directly at where I'm going to be turning my basically kind of downwind face to final turn. 9 knots of tailwind, knocking me all around. Actually no, it's the next mountain. This mountain is not the one that I'm thinking of. That's good because there's a lot of cloud in there and I don't think I'd be able to do my pattern very easily. I think. Let me see. Actually no. Okay, no, it's looking a lot better now. Now that is the valley I actually want. Let's go check it out. Wow, these are some amazing views. That is for sure. Slow down. That is the valley I want. Slow on down. Go 140, get 138, and then we'll throw 10 degrees of flaps in. There we go. Moresby 1285, November Tango Echo in the circuit. Compium, report after landing.
November Tango Echo.
All right, hopefully I can get her again on the ground. Okay, here is the, oh, there it is, way over there, hiding in between the trees. Well, let me climb back up to my pattern altitude because I'm low. I'm glad it's going to work out. We've got 9 knots here, so potentially I do have a decent amount of tailwind on landing. Again, this is 800 meters long. Let's fly overhead. They've got some smoke down there, which is a really great way to use as a windsock here, because windsocks are not that great here. They just don't pick it up, but smoke picks up wind a lot easier than a windsock. All right, there's 6,000. Looking at the smoke
500.
at the end of the runway, they'll have a little bit of a tailwind, but not like whipping. I'm guessing 4 knots on tailwind on landing, I'm guessing. But I got probably a bunch of wind swirling around in this big bowl. It's basically just a huge bowl right here, and the wind's just going to be whipping around in here the further on up I get. All right, I want to turn my base to final at 5,600, so let's do 20 degrees of flaps now. Fly directly overhead of the runway, take a look at it. I've only been here one other time ever. And bring our torque on down to 350 or so. It's a fenced in one, so shouldn't be anybody on it. The chimes let me know I've got 200 feet more to go. I want to basically turn right before this hill, my basically downwind to final. There's my 5600. Just
Minimums,
about, see?
minimums.
There's Betty, let me know. Always looking out for you. Went 67 knots, so let me slow one down. Full flaps. Now the wind's completely the opposite direction now. At 67 knots. There's 2 knots. It's already fast. Have a hard time slowing it down. Up on the river. Alright, now my speed's where I want it. Continuing, 2 knots of tailwind. Thanks for joining along on this little school bus run of mine. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. And like I said, check out the Patreon page if you're a simmer and you want to do some of these flights, or if you want to see some on-the-ground content of some of the locations I fly to. I do videos on the ground and whatnot. So anyways, consider subscribing if this is the kind of content that interests you. And thanks for taking the time to watch. Lights off, auxiliary generator all cut off and feather. Right, see you next time.